We kick off in Kenya, where the government has extended the mandate of the Transitional Committee that has been ruling football in the country for a further 2 months. In a special issue of the Kenya Gazette released on Friday, the Cabinet Secretary for Sports, Amina Mohammed, has appointed retired Lieutenant General Maurice Uyugi to replace retired Judge Aaron Ringera, who has stepped down as chairman, with the other 10 members of the committee retaining their positions. 7 members of the Secretariat will assist the Transitional Committee. Amina first appointed a caretaker committee to manage the sport for 6 months after she disbanded the Football Kenya Federation's National Executive Committee in November last year. The move ultimately led the country to be suspended indefinitely from international football by world governing body FIFA in March, and the Transitional Committee then took over in May for a term of 5 weeks, with the initial mandate expiring on Thursday. Well, the Kenyan government's latest move has thwarted efforts of a 13-member football federation. Now, stakeholders committee that sought to take over the management of the country's football following the expiry of the 5-week term of the Transition Committee. The 13, who are football administrators drawn from the FKF branches and leagues across the country, were then 5 weeks from the term Transition Committee. The 13, who are football's administrators from the FKF branches and leagues across the country, were selected during a special general meeting held in Nairobi last Saturday. Let's take a look. CGTN's Kiruki reports.
Kenya's indefinite suspension from international football remains in force almost 3 months since the decision was ratified at the 72nd FIFA Congress in Qatar on the 31st of March. Locally, however, the game has soldiered on, with Tusker FC retaining their Kenya Premier League trophy for their 13th title overall last weekend. The celebrations masked the dire state of the 2021-2022 KPL season that concluded with a number of cash-strapped teams awarding opponents walkovers after failing to honor their games. Now, a 13-member committee of stakeholders formed last week by Football Kenya Federation branches is seeking to take over the running of the game.
So the members have resolved to appoint a small committee to deal with the proposed amendments to the constitution of FKF, in line with the proposals that are going to come from the committee appointed to check on the policy and the amendment to the Sports Act.
The country's sports minister disbanded the National Executive Committee of the FKF on the 11th of November last year over allegations of corruption and misuse of state funds. Since then, 2 government-appointed bodies, the Caretaker Committee and Transitional Committee, whose 5-week term ran out on Thursday, have been running the game. The Stakeholders Committee is now requesting the government to hand them the mandate to govern the sport according to the laws and requirements of FIFA in the latest bid to have the indefinite suspension lifted.
We know that the first thing to deal with is to lift the suspension, and we know the conditions that were given by FIFA for them to lift the suspension. And we will work closely with the Cabinet Secretary for Sport and her team to make sure that those 2 conditions are fulfilled and the ban is lifted. So until that ban is lifted, we can only wait, and see, because we cannot organize international matches. But we are hoping sooner than later that that ban will be lifted.
With the 2021-2022 KPL done and dusted, Tusker FC face a nervous wait to see whether the football crisis in Kenya will be solved and the FIFA suspension lifted soon for them to get the chance to represent the country in next season's CAF Champions League as the country's players continue feeling the pinch of the international ban. Kiruki, CGTN.